I'd like to show how close I feel to the situation that all you guys live in your countries. I think that if any of us in the room come from any country or know about any country that is living in such conditions, we can understand very well what her husband is going through, and as a consequence herself, not just her husband, because she must be feeling and must feel terrible for all the things that have happened and how you feel about that, and as well as our friends and their situation in India. Maybe one of the main things to make clear before we start speaking about what is the situation for human rights defenders in Western Sahara is the fact that we are not oppressed by our own government, but we are oppressed by an occupying force. That is the first thing that we have to make very clear here. In our territory in Western Sahara, we are oppressed by the Kingdom of Morocco. We, basically from the very late 70s, we are suffering this situation in which all people, basically, but then the people who really face this day by day, and let's say that declare themselves to be human rights activists and defenders, have played a very, very active role, okay, and therefore pay for the consequences of that. And as I've said, in the case of Bahrain, not just them, but also their relatives, their friends, and anyone nearby. We can see how from the very beginning of our history, our brothers and sisters have been through all types of human rights violations. We have clear examples of people who've been tortured. I can talk to you about Minetto Haidar, who's been to prison several times. She maybe is one of our most international faces, and she has been reporting the situation, her situation, and all the cases of torturing, raping, and all kinds of abuses suffered by Sahrawi men and women in Moroccan jails. Moroccan jails, which very often are not even official and declared. They are secret jails where they do all their job. I can talk to you about people who've been raped, both men and women as well, okay? I can tell you about, I've spoken about her several times, but I've got a friend whose name is Aisha, and all her crime was to be the wife of a human rights activist in Western Sahara. In one of her visits to her husband, she went with one of her kids, and when she left the prison, she was waited by 5 men. They took her and her daughter into a car, and they took her to an empty flat, and basically the 5 of them raped her there in front of her daughter. And those could be many other cases. I'll talk to you later about one of our current situations, which is a group called DMZ that's been judged. And in this group, we have had people who have been men, in this case, tortured, physically, sexually abused by bottles, as our friend said that her husband was being threatened with. We have had people disappeared from the very beginning of our struggle, people that we still don't know anything about, people that we've managed to find out, people that have managed to be released afterwards with great psychological and mental difficulties, as well as physical difficulties due to the torture and all the instabilities that they go through in this time. I don't speak about single people, I speak about whole families that were captured just for being Sahrawi, whole families that maybe by luck, by fortune, some of them survived, other ones didn't, okay? Some of them were released afterwards, other ones just died meanwhile. I can talk to you as well about other types of consequences for being human defenders in Western Sahara. You find it very difficult to have your daily life, apart from all the really, really severe things I've talked about. You are fired for having any kind of activism. You lose any kind of income. If you are studying, you have all types of difficulties for anything which is defending your right. Basically, they block your life in all ways. You can see behind me several images of what is our situation there day by day. We'll have some time later to speak about them, but you can see that what I'm saying is not an invention, is not a fiction, is not anything like that. It's a reality, and we live this day by day. Right now is happening there. Let's say that once the negotiation plans started and we are supposed to be in a peaceful plan negotiation situation, whatever, with the Moroccan government, this still happens. It's not while we were having a war, it still happens, and we are in a peaceful plan, officially. We also have problems in Western Sahara to do something as simple as it is in many other countries, which is to create associations, NGOs. It's totally illegal. We are not allowed to do that. We would say that we've just got one NGO, which finally managed to be legal, let's say, and it was because of the international support, okay, and the judicial work that was done for it. Let's remind you that all this is happening in our territory, which is declared to be a non-self-governing territory. Is a territory where the United Nations has a mission called MINURSO, which is a mission that basically has a main task, which is to observe, watch, and report what is happening there. And I think that they have had some kind of blackout or something, because they do not do that. They are not fulfilling their job. All this is happening, and this information does not get to the place where it should. Let's say that also at the same time we would like to report, denounce, scream the severe need for international help to break the communication blockage that Morocco has set on us. It is almost impossible for journalists, observers, activists, let's say supporters, who want to go into Western Sahara to find out what is happening there, to try to meet the activists, to try to meet the relatives of those activists. It is impossible. You basically are not allowed to go into the country, and if you happen to do so, you are prosecuted and somehow, in a very, let's say, polite way, made to leave the country. In the last days, we have seen also how they are even getting to the point in where they physically attack the international people, not just the local people, which means that they do not care about international law at all. They do what they want with us Sahrawi people and with anyone else, so they feel totally supported. As I told you before, we have a trial taking place right now in Morocco, in the century that we are, in the time that we are, which is basically unbelievable. It's a group called DDHH. It's a group that started, formed by human rights activists, human rights defenders, and just regular people who wanted to report, claim, denounce the social situation that we are living in our country, where we are taking second citizens, okay? We're not allowed to do the regular things that we should. They organized peaceful demonstrations, peaceful campaign, and for that they were condemned, judged, and sentenced by a military court. Taking into account that they are civilians, let's remind that, they were condemned. And right now we are having that trial taking place again. Here we see again how the Moroccan government uses, I think that like any other government, as we can see, they use the attack, they use the blockade, they use the lies, and they use the manipulation to try to hide their own lies and problems. They are not letting our observers to go in to see what happens, what is being said, what the witnesses say, what proofs are shown. They are making things difficult, okay, for anyone who wants to go in and report what is happening there. Many of our people are not allowed to speak to international foreign observers, let's say lawyers or people from any kind of NGO, in order not to take that information out. We can see how the relatives have to travel 1,200 kilometers to visit their relatives in prison. They have to go there to try to fight for the rights of their relatives, for being imprisoned, for doing what? Nothing, just peaceful protest. I would like to remind you that all this is an illegal occupation. Morocco has no sovereignty on us, basically, and all we're trying to do is just defend our rights, okay? Rights which are, at least in theory, supported by the international community, United Nations resolutions, and so on. So, I'm here to talk to you about the situation of our people. I would like to really try and make pressure and try to break this blocking that Morocco has made to our country and show to the world what atrocities they're committing there. We really must be aware of the need to support our human rights defenders and activists, because they have to be strong, they must have resources and freedom to continue doing this job. We really need this international support. If we do not have that, it's really difficult to keep fighting. But anyway, we have no other option but doing that, so we will continue doing it as long as we can and as long as we're alive. So thank you very much for listening.